BnK Sports Talk Show. I'm Nick Bodkins.
I'm Craig Koger. We're going to get things started with the Thursday night football game last night. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Houston Texans. What does this mean for both of these teams?
Well, for the Eagles, it means you're right there still with the Giants. You maintain a game ahead of them because you beat them once. You still got to play them again. Michael Vick looked excellent last night. Their defense is still a little banged up. Unfortunately, for the Texans, I think they're about out of the playoff race. Last night's loss about doomed them. They had the lead there in the fourth quarter. The defense just isn't very good. They made some mistakes, but they have a nice offense. They have a bright future with Matt Schaub, Arian Foster, and Andre Johnson. You gotta like the direction they're going. They need a little bit of defensive help. They have Mario Williams, but they need some secondary. The loss of Dunta Robinson in the offseason really looks impactful now. Instead of what happened last year, maybe if they had him and a couple other guys that have been hurt, the Texans probably be a playoff team. I thought they were going to be a dark horse in the playoffs, but a disappointing season for the Texans. For the Eagles, you continue to move. Michael Vick continues to play well. He's got to watch out because he took a lot of shots in last night's game, and they need him to be healthy going down the last 4 games of the season.
I agree with you. It's a big win for Philadelphia to stay up on the Giants. You know, if the Giants win this week, Philadelphia still has got that tiebreaker for right now. Like you said, the Houston Texans has been disappointing this year. In the beginning of the year, I picked them to go to the playoffs. They got a lot of good talent, but like you said, they need some help in the secondary. You know, their pass defense is one of the worst in the league, and that's where they're getting burned. The offense can only score so many points. You gotta stop the other team every once in a while. But I think the Texans, unless the Colts and the Jaguars both lose this week, I think the Texans are out of it. And I think I've picked both those teams to win. So I think it's a little too far back for Houston right now. I think it was a good win for Philadelphia. And I think if the Eagles, once they get healthy, if they stay healthy, they could be one of the best teams in the NFC.
Switching gears a little bit, LeBron James returned to Cleveland last night. Was booed every time he got the ball. Is this kind of what you expected, or what did you expect out of this game?
Yeah, it's kind of what I expected. LeBron James, he had a great third quarter, scored 24 points, the most points ever scored in a quarter in that building. I expected him to get booed. Ilgauskas got applauded when he got announced into the game, but that just shows that you know, the Cleveland fans are bitter about how LeBron left, not so much that he left, but the way that he left with the decision and all this. You knew this game there was going to be a lot of emotions. You knew the crowd was going to be booing LeBron every chance they got, but he handled it well. He shined. He scored 38 points, led the team, and they beat the Cavaliers. I'd say right now LeBron got the first laugh. I won't say he's got the last laugh because I don't think Miami's going to get that championship ring at the end of this year.
You know, this is exactly what I expected. I mean, what they think LeBron James is going to come into the building and get cheered. No, everybody knew he was going to get booed. You know, the disappointing factor was it wasn't even a game, but I didn't really think it would be. You know, the Heat, this is what they do. They dominate teams below 500. They struggle against good teams. Cleveland, not a good teams. You know, you wish kind of, you know, I was rooting for Cleveland to win this game to get that laugh at LeBron James, but it didn't happen. I didn't think it really was going to happen. You know, Williams said for the game that they were trying to win this for Cleveland, and they didn't win it. I mean, this was no contest. You knew the Heat were going to be able to beat them. Cleveland not very good. You know, LeBron James is booed. That's what we expected. We didn't expect him to be cheered. You know, with the way he did things, the way they handled things, you know, Cleveland fans didn't, you know, it was for a police incident. It was fine, you know. We didn't see outrage. We didn't see people trying to get onto the court and beat up LeBron, you know. But the booing, we knew that was going to happen.
Sticking in the NBA, moving on to the LA Lakers. They've lost 4 straight. The panic isn't as high in LA when they lose as it is in Miami, but are the Lakers still the best team in the NBA? You
know, they're not the best team right now. I think the San Antonio Spurs are the best team right now, as in early December, but this is December. You know, in May, June, I think the Lakers will be right there once they get Andrew Bynum back. You know, they've struggled, they've lost 4 straight, but it's not that big a deal. You know, note a little fact here is that Phil Jackson has never lost 4 straight in any of his championship seasons. I still think the Lakers will be there right at the end, but right now, I'll take the Spurs over the Lakers as the best team in the NBA right now. But it's early. It is no time to panic in LA. They know what they're doing. They got the best player in the NBA. Unlike the Heat, where they panic, is because that team's thrown together and the expectations are through the roof. And LA, they've been through this. This is their grind. They know what they're doing. They'll be right there at the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Lakers, they're not the best team in the NBA right now. I think the San Antonio Spurs are, like you said. But I think when it comes down to it, later on in the year when you get to that playoff series, anybody in the West that wants to get to the finals has got to beat the Lakers 4 out of 7. And that's going to be a tough task. I think the Lakers are the best built team in the league for a playoff run and for a championship run. Right now they're just in a little slump. I think at the end of the year they will still have the best record in the West. But right now, best basketball, the San Antonio Spurs are playing the best basketball.
You're exactly right. Switching gears a little bit, the SEC title game, Auburn, South Carolina. Who you got, and should Cam Newton, should he be eligible to play in this game?
First of all, I'm going to take Auburn. I've been sticking with Auburn throughout the season. I'm going to take Auburn because Cam Newton is eligible. For the fact if he should be eligible or not, right now I'm going to say no, he shouldn't, because the penalties that USC faced for basically the same allegations and the same kind of thing with Reggie Bush. USC got different consequences than what Cam Newton and Auburn are getting right now. Now, that's not saying that if Auburn goes on to win the championship this year that it doesn't get taken away, a year or two from now. But right now, with everything that has happened, I think Cam Newton should not be able to play in this game.
According to the rule, Cam Newton shouldn't be. His dad went and sucked money from Mississippi State. Whether he got money to play Auburn hasn't been found. But that's funny because the school found him ineligible, but now the NCAA comes and says he's eligible. So now he's playing in this SEC title game, and it's funny to me that they're allowing him to play. I think a lot of it has to do that TCU is still undefeated right there, and that if Auburn loses, which I think they would lose if Cam Newton wasn't playing, that they would be playing for the national title. I think the NCAA bigwigs, they don't want that to happen, so they say, you know what, kid, you're getting a little free pass on this one. And you're going to be able to play. I think they also, this is his 1 year, I think, in college. He didn't really play much in Florida, but this is his one big year. They know he's going to the NFL next season. He'll be the guy. They're getting him a little free pass. I do like Auburn to beat South Carolina tomorrow. And, Cam Newton probably should not be playing, but he's playing in this one, unfortunately.
All right, another big BCS matchup, Oregon against Oregon State in the Civil War game. Can Oregon State pull an upset on Oregon?
No, I don't think so. Oregon's too good. I think they're going to win the national title. That offense is just, it's a beast. It's a machine. That's all they do is produce touchdowns. That duck has got to be tired of doing push-ups. I don't know. I know if I was the mascot, I would have quit my job about 3 weeks ago. But, I like Oregon to be able to beat Oregon State and go on and play for the national title.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oregon State, they're always pesky in these big, Pac-10 matchups, but I don't think that anybody's going to be able to top Oregon. I think it's going to be Oregon and Auburn. That's what I've been saying for a few weeks now in the championship game. And I think if anybody can beat Oregon, maybe Auburn can beat them. But I think if it comes down to those two teams, like you said, I think Oregon wins the national championship this year. All
right, switching into the NFL a little bit, some big games. The biggest game probably is the Jets and Patriots. We'll talk about that game on Monday. Biggest game on Sunday night, though, Ravens-Steelers. Who you like?
In this one, I'm going to take the Ravens at home. The Ravens and the Steelers, they always play each other very good. This is a very good matchup. Both very good on defense and both good on offense. But right now, I picked the Ravens to win the division. I'm going to stick with the Ravens. I like what they're doing on offense. With Anquan Bolden in there, he just fits that system perfectly. And with their defense, the Steelers almost lost to the Bills last week. I think they should have lost that game. And, Big Ben's got that foot injury. I think the Ravens defense is going to be after him, and I'm going to pick the Ravens in this one.
Big Ben's 5-0 in his last 5 starts against the Ravens. I like the Steelers. He finds a way to beat that team every time in some close games, even though the Ravens have beat the Steelers the last 2 times, but that's without Big Ben. One, he was hurt, and the other one on a suspension. But he's 5-0 against his team his last 5 starts. I'm going to take the Steelers. I think last week he's talked about the Bills game. Maybe they were looking a little bit forward to this game and almost lost that one. But I like this game. This is probably one of my favorite matchups. Ravens-Steelers, it's a chin-strap game. We're going to beat you up. We're going to, it's going to be low scoring. If you like high scoring, you don't want to watch this game, but I like the Steelers to win it.
All right, sticking in the AFC, the Chargers and Raiders possibly playing for the only other team that's going to challenge the Chiefs in this division. Whichever team loses, I think, is going to be out of it. Who you got in this one?
I like the Chargers to keep on winning, man. This is what they do. The Raiders not quite got it together. They did have the big win against Kansas City, which looked like they could turn the corner, but after last week's loss against the Dolphins, it doesn't look like they're headed that way. The Chargers are coming off some big wins. I think they'll continue to win. They'll continue their winning streak and be able to contend to try to win that title, that division title against the Chiefs. The Raiders, you're right, the loser is probably out of this division.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chargers are going to win. They're getting hot. They're doing what they do every year. Start winning games in November and December. The Raiders are kind of on a downfall right now. Like you said, after that game last week against Miami, I don't think the Raiders can beat the Chargers. I think the Chargers, the game they played earlier, the Chargers were on a drive late in the game to win that game, and then a turnover that got taken back the other way by the Raiders ended up, switching momentum and giving the Raiders the win. But I think this one, Phillip Rivers and that Chargers offense, they've just been rolling the last few weeks, and I don't think it stops this week.
I don't think the Raiders blocked 2 punts. I don't see them doing that in this game again. I know the Chargers have allowed a lot of blocked punts, but I don't think they're going to allow 2 this game. Like I said, I like the Chargers too. Switching it up to a big game in the AFC, or the NFC. You have the Falcons at the Bucks. Who do you like in this one?
This is a really good matchup. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. I'm picking the Falcons in this one. I think it's going to be a close game. But Tampa Bay, this is pretty much a must-win for them. I'm going to say that it is a must-win for them, because if they lose this game, that puts them 3 games behind Atlanta, and then if the Saints win this week, that means they're 2 games behind the Saints. So they need this game to keep pace in the division and to keep pace in the playoff run, but I think Atlanta pulls it out.
I like Atlanta too. Tampa Bay has a below 500 winning record against winning teams. They did play tough against Atlanta the last time they played them in the Georgia Dome, but Atlanta was able to squeak that out. I think Atlanta still wins. They're hot right now. They've won 5 in a row. I like to see them make it 6 in a row.
And before we end our show today, we want to give wishful thinking out to Ron Santos, friends and family. The longtime Cubby passed away last night. 2 Cub fans here in the house. Much respect and much joy from everything Ron Santo has brought to Chicago and the Chicago Cubs organization.
Should be in the Hall of Fame. Ron Santo, you always be in our hearts. Number 10. Thanks a lot for tuning in, sports fan. Check us out on YouTube or Facebook at BnK Sportstalk.
I'm Craig Koger.
And I'm Nick Bodkins.
Thanks for tuning in.